Hello everyone, in this video we see Paul Morphy's amazing game. This game was played in 1858 in New Orleans. Paul Morphy play with white pieces and amateur play with black. So without wasting time, let's dive into the game. So Paul Morphy starts with e4 and black replies with e5. Knight to f3, knight to c6. Bishop to c4, Italian game. Knight to f6, Italian game 2 knights defense. d4 and Paul Morphy didn't save his pawn and create pressure on center. So black accept the pawn, but Paul Morphy continue with knight to g5. Create pressure on f7. So black prevent with d5. He takes d5 and pressure on knight. So black take with his knight. But this knight has support from bishop. So Paul Morphy castles king side. Bishop to e7, preparing for castle. But here think, Paul Morphy's next move. So Paul Morphy take this pawn and sacrifice his knight and create pressure on queen and rook. So black accept the knight, but after taking this knight, Paul Morphy create strong attack on king. Queen to f3 check and fork on knight. If king moves to b8, then bishop takes knight check, and if black wants to save his checkmate, then black has to take this bishop with his queen, and in this case black would lose his queen. And if black try with bishop to e6, but bishop takes bishop is immediately mate because this file is covered by queen. So black continue with king to e6 and support his knight with his king, and Paul Morphy sacrifice his another knight on c3. So why Paul Morphy give his second knight? I think Paul Morphy want to deflect black's pawn from here. So black accept the knight and Paul Morphy continue his attack with rook to e1 check, and both files are covered. So if black move his king on d6, then checkmate comes immediately. But black continue with knight to e5 and Paul Morphy create more pressure on knight with bishop, and this knight is also pinned. So Paul Morphy sacrifice his both knights but also pins black's both knights. So black continue with bishop to f6, and here think Paul Morphy's next move. So Paul Morphy continue with rook takes bishop check, and king has only two options. But if king moves, then checkmate comes immediately. So black can't move his king. So black has to take this rook if black wants to save his checkmate only on this point. Because you can see that Paul Morphy create a strong attack on king, and opponent's pieces can't do anything on the board. So black accept the rook, but Paul Morphy didn't stop and continue with rook to e1 check. And also now black can't move his king on d6 because queen takes knight is immediately mate, because this file is covered by rook. So king has no mouse. So after rook to e1 check, black continue with king to d4, and Paul Morphy eliminate this knight. But black can't take this bishop with his queen, because after queen takes bishop, queen takes c3 is immediately mate. So black continue with rook to e8, and Paul Morphy continue his attack. Queen to d3 check, king to c5, b4 check, and if king moves to b6, then also checkmate comes. Black can't prevent this checkmate. But black accept the pawn, and Paul Morphy's final move. Queen to d4 check, and after queen to d4 check, black resigned here, because black can't prevent this checkmate. If king moves to a3, then also checkmate comes in few moves. If king moves to d2 or d3, then queen to d1 is mate. And also if king to b2, then also queen to b3 is mate. And if king moves to b5, then also rook can join into attack. And after moving king, checkmate comes. And if king to a5, then also queen takes c3 check. And after moving king, you can see that black can't prevent this mate because rook would join into attack, but king can't escape from here because this bishop and queen creates wall, so king can't escape from here. So after queen to d4 check, black resigned here. Thanks for watching and bye for now.